Good evening, everybody. This is the Dlls Stars post-game show after the Stars lose 4-3 in overtime to the Detroit Red Wings, alongside jolly old St. Lud's himself, Craig Ludwig, and our very own Sam. I don't have decorations on the wall, Nestler.
I don't even live
not
here.
His place. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us. We will be joined a little bit later by Sean Shapiro from Little Caesars Arena once their media availabilities end. And once again, Sam is getting well hydrated, which means he'll probably have to stop and go to the bathroom at some point during tonight's broadcast. Ryan Vaughters is our producer. Before we get into it, hats. Sam, you still wearing the hat? Spin that sun around. Look at that. Sam's got one of the new hats. Check out the whole collection. They are right there. 4 new hats available at alldlls.com. Probably too late to order for Christmas since it's Tuesday the 23rd tonight. But you should jump on them. They look great. Sam's sporting one tonight. Lud's surprised us in the pregame show. His came. He has the green DLS Hockey Stars looking one. Get them today.
And the white one.
And the white one. And let's have some fun. Fellas, before we get into the details, I got to say, although the Stars didn't win this game tonight, just from a neutral perspective, that was a heck of a hockey game. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Yeah, it was one of those, and it was funny because at first I felt like it was going to be another Stars game where it's not necessarily boring, but it's low event, right? That you look up and
especially early.
Yeah, shots are 5-4. It's going to be dull, maybe a power play goal here and there, and then all of a sudden it didn't open up, but it started to get a little heated. It started to get a little tension between the teams, and they started playing pretty hard. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I think 3 or 4 of the goals were highlight reel goals, so fun one to end the before the Christmas break on.
What's your initial take on this?
I knew it was going sideways when you guys started texting something about that's the best period I've ever seen them play since 1985.
That's not true.
That was Sean, wasn't it?
That was Sean.
I'm ready to send something going, this is too early to be doing this. And then it was too early to do that. So what were the shots? What were the shots in the second period, and what were the shots in the third period?
Yeah,
it's a little tilted.
It was 13-5 Dallas in the second, and it was 12-4 Detroit in the third. Basically the same in reverse.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to illuminate the conversation that Luds is bringing up, Sean texted our group after the second period, and it said, can you think of, I'm reading the one before that, which is, I think, at the end of the second period, where Sean says, this game has continued to prove that the phrase "F-U" is universal language between Swedes and Finns. And Lud said, make sure you say that in post verbatim. Just trying to get Sean in trouble. Love it, Lud. Always pot stirring. But then Sean said, can you think of a better second period they've played this season? So I just, based on the fact that the Stars scored 2 goals in the second, and I had chances at 16-7. That's a pretty one, it's 2-1. I went back through the first 36 games, and second periods where Dallas had a pretty big scoring chance disparity. It was the opener against Winnipeg, that game against Columbus where it was awful. They were terrible, but they had a pretty good second period. They dominated the Montreal Canadiens up at Bell Center. That second period, they scored 4 goals. Remember the game they routed the Oilers up in Edmonton right before Thanksgiving? And then tonight, as far as really one-sided periods of hockey, and it's funny, Sam, you brought that up because, we'll go through our breakdown. I didn't think the Stars really got going until they had that first period power play. As far as volume, it was really sort of like, hey, we're in it. It's a tight game, but we're okay. We're not pushing. And then I thought they really kind of went after the Red Wings in that second period. I really liked it. But Luds, you know what? You can't do that for 60 minutes. It's very, very hard to push an opponent back that long in the NHL.
Yeah, and you know what? As much as you don't want to admit it, there's a break coming up in your mind sometimes, as good as you've been and as good as you are, and it's hard to stay dialed in. Their dads are on the trip. I don't think those are a distraction. I think those are probably good things for them. But I just think, as the game ticks down, because I promise you that this morning there was a group of them, if maybe not all of them, maybe all of them, we're kind of going, we're going to be done early game. We're going to be done, and we're off for 3 days, come 9 o'clock tonight. And, and so you're kind of hoping things go your way. And I just think that's what happens at this time of the year.
I would actually like to know, and I don't know if there's any way we can find this out in the frame of the show, how many Stars players are not returning on the team plane to Dallas? Because a lot of times with a holiday break like this backed up on a road trip, players will pay their own way to fly from that city to wherever they want to go for the Christmas break, and then just have to make sure they get back in time for the 27th, which is the Blackhawks in Dallas.
Yeah,
I know it's the dad's trip,
was,
but there's got to be for example, Jake Ottinger going to Minnesota, Detroit to Minnesota or Minneapolis, pretty easy flight. Not going to go back to Dallas to come back up to the north. So I would imagine that the extra seats, Luds, on the charter flight tonight might be a few extra rows open.
I should have gone.
Single guys might stay overnight in Detroit. It's not bad downtown.
That's right.
Also, nobody's flying there.
So I know that we'll get nitpicky about certain things because that's our job and it's good. And this team is so good. We have to, because it's not like there's overarching themes of negativity. Are we should we be content? Should our viewers and listeners just say, you know what? This team's played great hockey. I don't know if you guys heard Josh say on the broadcast, but they're on pace to shatter their franchise road record for the season, which they set 2 years ago under DeBoer. They are second in the league. They keep piling up points. Yes, they gave up the lead in the third period and lost in overtime tonight. But should we sit back and say, that was a very entertaining game. Both teams went after each other, and it was fun hockey. And we should be pretty happy about what we've seen through 38 hockey games and not sit here and say my Christmas is spoiled now because of this.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say, no, we're not upset. I mean, they've been a great team. They are a great team. Things don't always turn out your way. They collect another point tonight. It's a holidays, like I said, they're tough games mentally. You're not 100% there. You may be 90, 95. The other team is at home. They probably have family in town, as you said. I know, like I said, the dads are there, but from everything I understand in the last 48 hours, they're just drinking with the guys anyway. So maybe they're a distraction. So no, I just think that when you're at home, I think all the home games that I can remember playing, and there was any kind of a break, generally the All-Star break is the one that we always, look forward to, or the Christmas wasn't that long, but your head is someplace else. You do everything you possibly can to have your head in the game. But, when you're up there looking at the clock in the second period, and then all of a sudden it's in the third period, like, hey, Matty, Patch, we got like 5 minutes. We'll be in Wisconsin snowmobiling tomorrow. So giddy up.
February 4th, Stars are at home. They're playing the St. Louis Blues, who've been god-awful this year. And then for all those guys, we did a show yesterday where part of our show, we talked, and I highly recommend you checking out yesterday's show. We had a great conversation about some of the personality and style differences between DeBoer and Gulletson and how that's changed things. Then we projected the Stars Olympic roster, meaning which players on the Stars are going to make their Olympic teams, respectively. There's more than half of the team is still not going to make the Olympics. There's a 3-week break starting as soon as that Stars Blues game in Dallas ends on February 4th. And as soon as you were talking to that, I'm thinking, I know for a fact there are players that know how long it takes to get from the arena to the airport to their beach house in the Caribbean. And they will make sure that timing is as fast as they can after that game. Those are your distractions, Luds.
Yeah, you might get the fun, crazy game though, because last year before the Four Nations break, I think they beat the Sharks 9-4 or 9-3. So sometimes it ends up well for that.
I'll
team,
take
even
that
if you're not playing your perfect hockey.
I know it's 17 hours from Dallas to my snowmobile in Wisconsin on Tuesday.
See, I know. Yeah, they know when they're ready to get that break. Speaking of a break, something I had written down for the pregame show and we didn't have time. They play one hockey game in the next 7 days. 3-day holiday break for the NHL, no activities for the team. there will be some players that are going to work out. They're not going to just sit on the couch for 3 days, right? They're athletes. Some of them have to break a sweat. Some of them have to do a few 12-ounce curls, whatever. I'm looking at Luds when I say that. Then they play the Blackhawks on Saturday in Dallas, and they don't play again until New Year's Eve at home against Buffalo. And we mentioned this yesterday briefly, but how much, aside from the schedule of 1 game in 7 days, they need that. That's the easiest game schedule they'll have all year for a week. How much do they need that, Luds?
The coaches need it. The coaches will. There's been a lot of things, a lot of little details that I think that they would have loved to be able to work on in the last 3 weeks. And good for them that they've been able to get by those moments and win hockey games. But I think now, especially when you're getting to the point where you're halfway through the season, and there's some little things that you want to work on. And I think when the coaches have 2-3 days off in there, to allow them to do that and get some guys in the right places if they are or aren't or whatever, and get them healthy. I think the coaching staff are really looking forward most of all.
Yeah, Luds, you said something there. You said 2 or 3 days off. I personally suggest that the Stars take 3 days off, because last year they did not take 3 days off.
Oh, yes.
They had themselves a little optional practice and got fined like $100,000. So I suggest the coaching staff pays attention to not having an optional practice on the 26th this year.
If they're going to do it, they've got to be smarter. They have to not use their ice surface.
And Pete just said it last year.
And they've got to go, or don't say anything.
He just said it.
Or they have to pay to go rent ice somewhere else. It's got to be a captain's thing. But then I say that 1 game in 7 days. Then I looked at January, because this is that weird back-to-back New Year's Eve, New Year's Day in Chicago, which we've never seen the Stars do before. Once they play 5 games in 8 days. Like, come on.
It's ridiculous.
Like 1 game in 7, you couldn't have moved one. I know that New Year's Eve is a game that they expect, but 5 and 8 coming out of that long layup, it's like just cram them back together again.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
All right. Before we get to break, let's start with Sam, then I'll go to Luds. Anybody on the Stars stand out to you in a positive or negative way? And biggest impressions that, if you look at those bar graphs of the grades after a game, who sways either end the most for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you 2. I'm gonna cheat because I want 2, because I have one that was more of a.
You can ask. You can say 5 if you want.
A few shifts, and it's Justin Ritzkovian. I know we'll talk about the goal with Duchesne and Benn, but I know he took the penalty as well to cost them a goal. But I just think the way that guy stands up for himself, the way that guy never stops moving his feet, never stops battling, makes that extra effort play, like you'll see on the goal from Benn in the second period. I just think that energy rubs off, and he drags people into the fight, kind of like Mikko does, and I love that for him. And he had another good game tonight with a couple really nice plays. And then Duchesne specifically, I thought this was one of his better games in terms of creating. The Benn goal I just talked about is obviously a big one, but he just looked a little more dangerous. He looked like he had more space when he had the puck. The skill on that play to set Benn up is the high level of I'm feeling pretty close to myself here. So I think Duchesne and Ritzkovian for me stood out.
Luds?
I like Ritz also, but I would throw Roope in there. I like the way he was skating. I think that he was moving well and getting to those areas again. I think he was on pucks. And was it his best game? No, but he of the top guys for me, he stood out of the top guys. We always talk about the same 4, 5, 6 guys. But I like the way he was going. But I definitely the moment where Ritzy jumps in there, for me, he'd be my number 1 star tonight.
I'm looking at the chat. Matt said that he thought Ritzkovian, Rantanen, and Heiskanen would be his guys tonight. T.O. said he thought 55 looked good. The Melee Man also liked Harley. Do you guys like Harley's bounce back after a really shaky Toronto game?
Yeah, I think personally, I'd love to hear what Lud says about the defending aspect, because I saw a few plays where he looked a little more aware of what was going on. He made the reads that he can make, with a little poke check, intercepting a pass here and there. I just thought he had a little more of the instinct that we see from Harley, not necessarily the offense flying up the ice, but the defensive side of it.
I think for me, what he did tonight, especially with the puck, is he moved the puck. We're used to seeing. I always say that Thomas is a guy that passes the puck hard and he moves it, and Mero's a guy that skates to places. I think part of what Harley has the things that we haven't liked a lot. It seemed like he wanted to do a lot more with the puck, and he wanted to skate it more. And he wanted to kind of dance through some places. And again, that may be part of wanting to be, make sure you're on that Olympic team, things like that. But I think when Harley is dangerous to me is when he gets going with speed, he moves it, and then he keeps on going, and then he jumps into a hole. And then when you give it to guys like Rantanen and Hintz and guys that can make those passes, Duchesne, Wyatt, they get it back to him. And they get it back to him generally in a pretty good spot where he can shoot it right away in the offensive zone. And versus, trying to beat one or two guys coming up through the middle of the ice, which is more Miro's kind of thing. I just think that Harley's got this deceptive way of skating. And I think, I've obviously never been on the ice against him. And the guy comes to mind for me was Shane Corson. I had Shane as a teammate and then also played against him in practices. We'd be going down one-on-one, and I'd have what I thought was a good gap, and all of a sudden he was even with me and then going by me. But he just had long, powerful strides that you don't recognize. Sometimes when players are skating, like Wyatt, Wyatt's coming because you can see his feet coming. They're churning, and so you're trying to get your gap. But with the bigger guys, especially Harley, I don't see his feet moving. Miro, you don't notice it either. He just has powerful strides. But Harley, I think, can catch some guys off guard when he plays a little bit more give and go.
All right, let's get to our first ad break. We'll talk to Sean. We'll do our full game breakdown. Lots still to come. Our last pregame, postgame before the Christmas break. And Luds is counting it down here on DLLS. You hear in the news, beef prices are skyrocketing. It's been a top story daily for weeks. But then you find a solution. Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market. I've been there personally, and let me tell you, with over 700 items available, including 500 at under $10 a pound, they have everything you could possibly need. Whether it's 250 cuts of beef, poultry, pork, seafood, even exotic stuff if you're into that kind of thing, like ostrich, rabbit, or alligator. But they have friendly butchers and everyday low prices, and they have great sides. You can get your whole meal. So we're talking mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, rolls, garlic bread, breadsticks, even their desserts. Try that key lime pie. It looks incredible. They blast freeze everything, which maintains their freshness because frozen is fresher at Wild Fork Foods. 9 area DFW locations, including Plano, Frisco, North Richland Hills, Flower Mound, Wiley, Addison, Las Colinas, Prosper near me, and Louisville. Go to wildforkfoods.com and check them out today. Now let's talk about Shady Rays. You know that moment, the one where you realize that you've left your favorite sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car, or the gas station 3 states away. Of course, when you're in Texas and you're at a gas station, you probably went to Buc-ee's. But anyway, we've been there. We've lost or broken our favorite sunglasses. Shady Rays came along. I found them. They changed the game because we're talking about serious, good-looking, not stupidly expensive Luds, and of course, 2 great things, durable and polarized. All very important, especially when you're driving on the massive traffic in Dallas with all that sunshine. Here's the wild part. If you lose or break them, even in the first day of ownership, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses like I do without fear. In fact, there's my case right here. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code DLLS35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right. Let's get back into this one. Sean's not quite here yet. He's looking for a quiet bathroom stall he can sit down in and show us. Sorry, Ryan, that was too easy. Ryan gave him a great group text. All right, guys, let's break this one down. Stars lose 4-3 in overtime to the Detroit Red Wings. I thought the Wings got off to a better start in this one. Even before the goal by James Van Riemsdyk, the Stars did have a couple of looks, but I felt like the first 5 minutes, Detroit's forecheck was on their toes, and Dallas was, for lack of a better word, on their heels, trying to deal with it. It seemed like the passing through the, from zone to zone to zone just wasn't there early. They did settle down, but I think it took till that first power play for Dallas to really establish themselves in this game. And they were kind of trying to stave off the early Red Wings pressure up at Little Caesars tonight. What are your thoughts about the beginning?
I think a lot of that is because of, again, the home game, the holiday game. Yep. The home team comes out with some extra jump. And right now, again, you hear all the coaches talk. I'm sure we're going to hear 40 more coaches talking, saying the same thing before games all the time now. Players know if we don't have our best game, this team that we're playing against will embarrass us tonight, whether it's on the road or it's at home. So I just think that there are no more teams that are going to come out and play Dallas or Colorado or maybe even Minnesota, whoever it may be, those teams at the top. They're not just going to come out and say, man, we can, we're going to have a good game tonight. But they're going to talk about how if you don't have your details in line, the game will be over early. So I think the preparedness from opponents now, this team now, Dallas has to recognize that. They're going to get team's best games, especially going into the second half against them.
The early chances led to actually Robo and Roope both had ones. Lud, you were talking about Hintz tonight. I thought his wraparound where he almost stuffed it. It was blocked by Edvinsson, who made a really good stick play at the right post. But that's, I think we've talked about this numerous times. If Roope gets in on something early, it usually leads to a good night.
Confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. When Hintz is skating early, I think for me, when I notice that Hintz has got 2-3 shifts in the first 5 minutes of the game where he's coming up through the neutral zone, where he's not getting confronted by opponents, or he skates right by him and then he gets into the offensive zone, to me, that's his juice. And I think that gets him feeling like my game is here. I can skate by pretty much everybody in the rink tonight, which he can.
Well, it was Van Riemsdyk who scored the first goal of the game at the right side of the crease, giving the Red Wings their first lead at 9:23 of the opening period. Really like the play by Michael Rasmussen to set this one up, but break us down, guys, how this one ended up behind Casey DeSmith.
Well, you know what? The one thing that I didn't send Ryan was the play just before what you just saw from Rasmussen. He makes a nice play as he comes into the offensive zone. He actually goes off the wall behind Miro, and then he skates around Miro without the puck and then picks it up. And I thought that was an important play, because if you want to stand up against Miro and try to skate through him, generally he can't. Right here, the puck is going to go up off the wall, and then he skates past Miro without the puck, which is a lot easier to do. But after that, unfortunately, I got to pinpoint Petro. He's not paying attention to where JVR is, and all he's doing, you can see his stick, but that's where his eyes are too. He's watching where the puck is, and the whole time JVR is basically on his backside, and he never really spots him because he's attracted to the puck, and that's ultimately what happens. Is he's playing at the end of his stick right now, and then there's a couple different whacks, and it ends up behind Casey.
I believe Sean is connected. There he is. He's frozen.
He's eating.
I'm here.
Eating.
I'm here.
Settled.
I'm here.
There he is. Sean, we just started the breakdown on the JVR goal. And what was your take of the first 10 minutes of the game? Because we all said that it felt like the Red Wings had the better of the play. A couple of great Stars chances early, but as far as possession and zone time, I thought Detroit had the better start. And then things flipped when Dallas had that first power play.
Yeah, I thought the Wings started really well, and then, as you kind of said there with the Stars and building off the power play, both teams after the game talked all about how special teams built this game, and it's from a Stars perspective for me. I'm watching this game, and it felt like there was kind of. I was talking to someone else in the press box about how it felt like at some point there needed to be a kick in the pants one way or the other, either positively or negatively. And I think for Dallas, that really opened it up. And that, I'm assuming now you're at the Petro. As I came in, I saw the screen grab of where you were talking about with Petro and Miro and the Van Riemsdyk goal and everything like that. And I'm assuming that's where we are now.
Yeah.
Sam, we can hear you furiously typing on your keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
You know. Yeah,
I'm just up in the chat.
You remember when Sean does that and you can hear him banging away?
I didn't
like
know because the headphones are here. All
you
right,
could definitely hear it. You sound like a little mouse scurrying across the floor. Anyway, that's all right.
2 fingers.
So we go to the second period and the power play ends. They had a great look. Boy, Maverick Bourque on a loose puck, great little backhander right at the crease. I thought John Gibson made some really good saves, especially early in the game. And then we have the no goal, which is the one by Nate Danielson who kicked into the net. I don't think that Danielson was trying to kick it in the goal. I think he was trying to kick it to his stick to tap it in, but he missed. And I thought the referees got that right. Did you guys see it any differently?
Well, he didn't really miss. His stick was taken away. And so here, Petro makes up for it. Right here, when the puck comes over to his skate, he gets his skate on it. But what's important is what Petro does is he takes his stick and he ties the stick up. And because he does that, he's already past the goal line. His stick is going to be passed. Right here is where it goes off of his foot. Petro's got his stick tied up here, but he continues to tie it up. And then what happens is his momentum takes it past there. And right now he's still there. If Petro doesn't have his stick right here, this puck gets tapped into the net. But because he keeps his stick on stick, by the time he gets to the post, he's actually too far past. That puck trickles behind Casey, and it's already too far past him. And so that's why I think that it ultimately, looks like it's kicked in, which it was. But otherwise, I think it ends up going from his stick or from his skate to his stick, and he's able to tap it in.
I would have been fascinated if he had actually just got a tap on it, because it would have been an interesting case study of it was clearly projected by his foot at a kicking motion. So if he had just only got a little touch on it, I would have been fascinated by the ruling on this, because the ruling is sent in with a kicking motion. And so if he only got a tap on it, all of a sudden,
like as if it just glanced off the stick?
Yeah. Like I would have been fascinated by the ruling if he had just gotten a touch on it. Because then there would have been a couple different ways, different views on this, and for both sides on whether it was a good goal or not.
I don't know how, honestly, Sean, I don't know how it could be viewed any other way than a goal because of it. Why is it any different than kicking it from your skate to your stick and you blow it in, or it hits your stick and it goes in? All you're trying to do is get the puck towards your stick, and that's the point of it. I don't know. I mean, you're right. It would be, but I don't know how you could overturn it.
Yeah, for sure. It was. I think, especially with the way it was called right away, I don't think you would have been able to overturn it. But I think it would. It's one of those where we think about the rule and we think about what ifs for me, and it would have been just an interesting case study for me, because I think even if it's just a glance, all of a sudden you're still going off. Okay, well, the rule says projected in by a kicking motion, and that's how it got there. But I don't know. It's a food for thought for me.
Yeah, let me tell you, there'll be an interesting case study when I'm gone.
Well, the Stars' second power play was more result-oriented. The first one, I thought they were dangerous but didn't score. The second one, man, we've seen this so many times, but they continue to overwhelm penalty kills. And it's not with brute force all the time. I mean, they have so many different layers of how they can do it. But what I mean by overwhelm is puck possession, retrievals, re-entries, time again. And they just, I mean, what a play by Rantanen to set up the Hintz goal. But the fact that they had worn out the Red Wings penalty killers before this one goes in is, I think, why this built the way it was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is there any way to tire out penalty killers more than retrievals? Because you're not just making a couple passes and maybe they get a little scrambly. If you're getting retrievals, for the most part, you're probably having someone chase you down and you're in a 2-on-1 or you're in some sort of battle. They just found a way to do that every time on that power play and on a bunch of the power plays, honestly, where they outnumber their guys or they win a one-on-one battle quickly and move it up top. And all of a sudden, even if Detroit's not panicking, they just exerted that energy to get back in. And that's why you saw, I mean, at the end of the goal, they are packed way in trying to protect the net because they're all too tired to kind of span out. So I just love the way they did that and grinded it down.
I actually think, Sam, like, look, for sure, because anytime you get pucks up, you have to go get them, and it does, and that's how you kind of break the box down. But I thought tonight it looked to me like Detroit was going to keep their structure. They were like, we're not getting pulled out of place. We're going to play the diamond, and again, the goal that you're going to talk about, the Hintz goal, it was all because of what Mikko did. I mean,
go ahead, let's break it down now.
It didn't seem much. All he did is he gets the puck and he gets Gibson to start to move, and he gets Gibson to get right here. He gets it here. Gibson's here. Now, as he starts coming, Mikko's going straight ahead. Gibson's trying to stop and go back to his right a little bit. Then he goes back. And then what's even more important is that Hintz goes to the far side. So Gibson's on his way back to the left a little bit. So he was just like that little sliding guy that's going here, then it goes here. Now I get to go back here. Then it goes back against the grain on him. So, but again, what a smart play by Rantanen. Just, again, the same thing, to be able to have the awareness to know where everybody is, and not only just to know where the player is, but just to be able to know he's left-handed, right-handed, and put it right on his forehand.
Great shot too.
The Hintz power play goal ties it at 1. Robo forced a really good save from the low slot by Gibson. Could have been 2-1. The Red Wings get a power play, and Van Riemsdyk, I thought he missed wide. He shows that he still obviously scored a goal tonight, but he shows, we're going to see it again later with his pass, but he still has incredible technique around the net. There was a play where it was a shot from the right point where he went to read. He just like, it wasn't a tip play. It was like he tried to feather it, almost, Sean, to like deflect it. So it went around DeSmith to the far post and he missed it. But it's that kind of creativity that not a lot of guys have around the net.
It was a fun power play side by side to watch for both teams tonight. It was actually interesting. One of the things that, talking to both sides after the game, it was one of the things that I learned after the game was Glenn Goldson told me before the season started, he actually studied the Detroit power play from last year and how they roll the lefties and the righties and they move them around. And it was one of the things that he watched quite a bit of before the season started, of some things that he could steal from the Detroit power play that he said has kind of had a little bit of an impact on the Dallas one. So it was interesting to watch all of that and then to see all that, because that was the one thing. Van Riemsdyk was really the one piece missing from the Detroit power play last year. It was a good power play last year, but one of the things that was really missing from it was, as much as they already had a little bit of that rolling from left to right and the way that kind of built off that, they were missing the guy with that innate sense of skill of knowing when and where to create from the small areas and everything like that. So it's a really good point about Van Riemsdyk, because I don't know how much other parts of his game are really there right now at this point in his career, but that is a skill that doesn't go away, and why he still continues to be one of him and Jamie and Patrick Kane. I don't know how many other guys are left from that 2007 draft class are still going right now.
He's
All right, guys.
Coming to us live from the visiting dressing room.
Yep.
Visiting, I believe it is the NBA visiting coaches locker room. I tried every door. I tried every door. This is the one that opened, so I don't know if I'm going to get out.
Better than a bathroom.
Fellas, we have 5 more goals to break down and lots more, including some super chats to get to later. We are only halfway through the DLS Stars post-game show. Don't go anywhere. We continue in a moment. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. When you talk about making those football picks, here's one of the great things about Prize Picks. It's so easy, simple to play. All you have to do is pick more or less and at least 2 player stats. And if you get them right, you can cash in. But unlike other sites, Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the lineup. So if you are a huge Josh Allen fan, we keep mentioning that, I'm going to say Drake May, because I'm a Pats fan. You can pick more on Drake May's passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns, all in the same lineup. I love that. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. You know how hockey season is nearing the midway point and things are starting to heat up? If they haven't already for you, they should be. Well, you need to use Game Time to get to the barn, the stadium, the arena, the building, the rink, because it's the best way to get tickets to see your favorite NHL games. Of course, they also have every other sport, concerts, comedy shows, theater, you name it. But let's talk about these NHL games. You go to the Game Time app. It's super easy. They always have great, authentic, 100% authentic tickets. That's the Game Time guarantee. You know you'll get them at the best price, and fees are always included up front, so you see what you pay. There's no surprises when you hit checkout. And seat views. Always know exactly where you're going to be, even if it's a new building you haven't been for. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. It's very easy. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Fellas, let's talk about the Jamie Benn goal, because late in the period, in the final minute, the captain cashes in on a counterattack. Stars have the lead, It was after Roope Hintz missed a 2-on-1 rush with Jason Robertson where he just put it wide. But what a goal for Benn as the Stars take the lead into the final 20 minutes, capping off what we were talking about in the first segment. Luds and Sam, pretty darn good period for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, it was a good period. And I think when you talk about the captain, it started with his back check. And he had a couple face-offs tonight too. I would have talked about his back check, getting back to the middle of the ice, but it ultimately pays off for him. And then when Duchesne gets that puck wide, and what the smartest thing I think that Matt did is he gets rid of this puck. I think this is Sider coming back, but what he does is he understands big player long reach. He gets the puck off of his stick early, and he's able to lead Jamie hard enough that knowing that a player is probably going to dive in that moment, that you got to lead him enough. And then he actually puts it, what he always does on his backhand. He's such a great passer on the backhand. And then Jamie just one times it into the net. So, but again, I like it where Jamie starts to play by playing defense, and it's defense, for offense. And one thing young players can learn from that, Jamie breaks up the play in the neutral zone, and then it's going back the other direction, and he doesn't stop his feet. He just drives right straight to the net, and he gets rewarded for it.
Yeah, great play from Benn and the Ritzkovian one I was talking about. Ritzkovian is the one who gets the puck after Benn breaks it up. Then it gets kind of popped up to him. He uses his glove to pause it down and gets it up to Duchesne. But the one thing that I loved about this, and I texted Sevy right away because I'm sitting there with Brent Severin and Robert Tiffin at, I don't remember if it was morning skate or practice, one of the most recent skates. And I think it was Nils Lundqvist and Kyle Capobianco who are out there passing to each other against the wall. And there's a stick laying flat on the ice. As they receive the pass, they do a little bump and it chips it over the stick. Super simple, but basically the stick's behind where they get the puck. They chip it up and they catch it on the other side and they pass it to the other guy. It's such a simple play. And I could think of where you could use it in like pond hockey and stuff. And I'm asking Sevy, where would you really use that? And he's like, well, you can use it in if you're trying to make a quick transition, but also you can use it when you're shifting your body, if you're trying to draw someone close to you. As soon as they did that play, Ritzkovian throws it up to Duchesne. Duchesne kind of leans to his left, does that little pop-up, and it couldn't have worked any better. I don't remember which Red Wing was the one jumping him at the blue line, but he literally chips it completely over the top of the stick, lands flat, Duchesne skates up and under it, and then as Lud says, protects the puck. I just love when seeing a little tiny skill thing comes into the game at that speed. It's such a great play. That's why I think Duchesne really feels good, because not just the whole play, but that specific little skill play.
That's where all the little toys come into play. When you get out there and you see these guys with all the little toys out there on the ice and little bars and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And you know what? The whole thing with that is that he'll take his stick plate, Sam, and he just tilts it back a little bit to make it a little bit of a ramp. So it kind of comes up and all in one motion. Like you said, he chips it over the stick. Skill play by a skill player.
Sam, do you have a whiteboard to go with that expo marker you're holding right there?
There's one over here. I'm in my dad's office.
Okay, I was wondering. I was ready for this. I saw Sam with the expo marker, and I was like, "Wait, do we have a new? Are we about to get a Sam?"
I have plays. I got plays up here for everybody. Yeah, I just was looking for something to play with, so I found this.
Plays.
Speaking of Justin Ritzkovian, did any of you guys have an issue with the penalty he took that led to the Emmitt Finnie power play goal?
Absolutely not.
Is it because it's a one-off and because he plays hard? I mean, if he took penalties that led to goals against frequently, and the one that I remember was Mason Marchment having that, you get annoyed of, hey guys, this is the kind of thing that needs to be cut out because you're hurting the team. But I honestly think that Bernard Docker deserved a penalty for checking him in the numbers, and he didn't get that call, and he responded by standing up for himself.
Ritz is a 180 from Antoine Roussel. He understands when to do things like that. Roussel just liked to get the pims up here.
Yeah, he did, and cause trouble. All right, so Sean, Luds, I'm curious about your takes. Luds, let's start with the breakdown, then we'll get Sean's on Emmitt Finnie's power play goal. It was the first time in a while the Stars penalty kill has been so good, but they ended up giving up 2 on the power play to the Red Wings tonight, starting with this one.
Well, let's talk about our Norris. Wait. This is the I think this is the face-up I was talking about, Brian. This is the one. Just a little thing. It has nothing to do, I don't think, with this what we're going to talk about. But I just want you to watch on this face-off what Jamie does here. And so he comes in, he loses the face-off, and it's a clean draw right here. All right. And immediately, this just tells you what their mindset is from a team standpoint. Jamie puts the brakes on, and he's going to back out of the zone right now. So, and now look where he is. He's in a position to defend. This is how they cut down on the number of outnumbered rushes going the other way. There's always a high guy. You get pressured from the inside, and then Duchesne's going to start coming across the top, so he can help too. So anyway, that was what I was talking about earlier. Let's go to that power play goal, Ryan. You know who this is in front wearing a white jersey? Anybody?
It's not Miro, is it?
You're exactly right. It's not. That's Essa.
Oh, no,
Essa.
Miro's in the corner. Yeah, I can see it.
You
That's
know
Essa.
Essa's playing in front here? Okay, well, let's go to the next one. Okay. Now, do you see a difference? Yeah, that's Miro in front now. Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then the other thing is, look at how the four guys are all spread out. All right, now go to the next one. Okay, we're still kind of in the same spot, aren't we? All right, now we can go to the next one. And this is where you're ultimately chasing back.
God,
Okay,
it's so simple.
Again, you allow them to get position on you. Then I believe that, So anyways, this is what ultimately happens. And it's the race back to the net. You get there late, and there's a reason that he ends up getting 2 whacks at this puck is because look at the distance. Look at all you have to do. If you're a defenseman or whoever it may be from the point, all you want to do is get it to the net, because you know as soon as this player turns his back, when Finnie turns his back, you're boxed out. And so ultimately, I like where Fox is. I want you to remember where Fox is. Fox is in a good spot. But again, look at the distance and how the middle of the ice is open now. That's what Detroit was trying to do differently against Dallas tonight. But again, here, this is called playing with a long stick. You know, that's because you've got to reach, because you can't get back all the way to cover this guy, because you were, 6-8 feet from the top of the crease. So ultimately, that's where I am. Essa usually hangs around a little bit more in the front of the net. Now, Miro's done a good job when he's been out there. I'm just saying, but sometimes you get a little stretched out, and ultimately that's what happens.
Luds, I'm curious, where would you play that? Because it's a PK, right? So he obviously can't completely come back. He has to respect the slot a little bit. Where do you go as Miro?
The reason Miro plays that way, I believe, is because he's so good at anticipating passes and where they are. He feels he can pick them all off. So I just stay closer to the net. There's nobody there. I mean, there was nobody out there who he's covering anyways. He's covering an empty spot of ice. So that way, but again, that has to be kind of a concept, because Foxa, and again, who do I like as penalty killers, right? I mean, I like Ritzy Ritz. I like Foxa. One guy's not in the lineup tonight, and we can get to that on the next one, but they play a little bit tighter. And so I think they have guys that are working chemistry in groups of 4. And I think now tonight, for whatever reason, this particular one ends up getting a little bit spread out, more space and time, exactly what players want. Now, they don't have the same kind of players that Dallas does. Detroit tried to play that tight diamond, but they just work it around, and then they've got guys that need about this much room to get the puck off.
Sean, how high is Detroit on Emmitt Finnie right now?
He is one of the – so I'll give you the best compliment he got post-game tonight. So Dylan Larkin we spoke to Dylan Larkin after the game tonight, and Dylan Larkin said, if I happen to make the Olympic team for Team USA and I have to play as a winger with better players, I hope to model my game after Emmitt Finnie. That's what Dylan Larkin said about Finnie tonight, talking about how he hopes he's like, as someone who has played center before in his life, has to move to the wing, to move up to a larger opportunity. Like this is, and people got to remember, this is a 20-year-old 7th round pick. Detroit got him 201st overall in the draft. This is a kid who played in Kamloops last year, had a cup of coffee in the AHL at the end of the season. And honestly, it's funny because a lot of his journey to tonight started actually in Texas at the Stars, the Prospects Challenge the Stars hosted in Frisco. Him and Axel Sandin Pellikka, who we saw in the game tonight, both played in those prospect games down in Frisco. And then it kind of jumped into the 9-game preseason stint. I mean, he's someone who has gone from a curiosity as a 7th round pick that they weren't even expecting to make the roster to he's a legit member of that first line with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. And it's the most impressive thing about him to me is the fact that there's a lot of young players who get put in that spot and then the moment consumes them, right? Like there's a lot of times where, and we've seen it in Dallas before. Like we've had our whole Maverick Bork conversation on this show about kind of seizing the moment. And it's been interesting because I've talked to Finnie quite a bit about this. He really thinks it has something to do with the fact that he was a 7th round pick. He's realized that there's no moment that consumes him because he never thought there would be a moment, right? Like he thought like he has a 7th round pick. He thought like it was always, I got to fight just to get a contract. I got to fight to do this. I got to fight. It's similar. Like if you look at Dallas, obviously Justin Ricskovian wasn't drafted and we're talking all about what he's done, but think about Justin Ricskovian's approach and his mentality to the game where there's nothing that feels too big for him because he realizes he's fighting to stay in this league every single step.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think Finnie has brought that to this Detroit team where a lot of times there's guys who, we've all seen it, guys who are kind of gifted a roster spot earlier in the career or get a spot because of what that draft title, that draft stock, right, name. And this is just, it's been a find for Detroit that's been really impressive. And it's also funny to bring it up on this show just because it started with something in Frisco back in September. So,
Well, we are going to get to 3 more goals, super chats, and wrapping this one up. We still have more to go here in the DLS Stars post-game show. So don't go anywhere because we have a Luds and Sam live read right now.
I think it would only be appropriate, Ryan, if we pulled up the Wyatt Johnston. I think there was a comment made in the pregame show about.
There was a comment, Lud.
Yeah,
Someone said something.
Somebody said that. Let's start with Wyatt because he's going to get
He's a handsome man.
I don't know who said that. Who was that? Was that Sean that said that?
No, I think it might have been you, Luds.
Oh,
I think it was me.
Much wine. I didn't remember. Anyway, there's Wyatt Johnston. Just continues to pack up all the power play goals. And let's go to the hats. Like I'm telling you, these hats are so nice, and what a company. I'm just saying. Lud's
got an angry email for sure.
An about face.
They take care of them. They take care of you. They make sure they're going to get them there for Christmas. I've been saying that the whole time. There was no concern. They were going to be here. They're here. Lud's has got his hat. Sam's got his Cadillac hat, and we are good to go.
What a difference 24 hours makes. Look at that right there.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
I kind of look like a train conductor, though. I'm kind of. I'm not sure what this is, so I'm gonna have to knock this down.
You might have to work on it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah, I like it though. Sam, are you composed enough to talk about the rest of this one?
Lud's for sure. I was gonna say Lud's got an angry email from the company telling him you better apologize, but he can't check his email, so there's no way that he did.
No,
but I think it's funny that Owen says our names, Luds, now because he knows that we probably don't know that it's our turn to read. So
I'm very much reminding you guys.
Luds and Sam are going to read now. Okay, guys, are you ready? No, you guys should become a diehard because it's awesome right there. Sean's got the QR code right underneath his ridiculously massive beard that grows overnight. And you can become a diehard so you can get all the articles. You can get the articles from Sean and I, but also from every other sports team with DLS. You get them you get the full articles, plus you get no ads on the articles, 20% off merch, 20% off hats like Luds and I are wearing right now, and all kinds of cool stuff. So become a diehard. I don't know where you guys are on the screen. Do you think you're pointing at each other? For me,
no, right now I'm poking at
you're in my ear.
Bud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. That's where I'm at.
So alldls.com/diehard. Go do it.
All right. Let's bring it back on with conductor Luds. As Luds, we got to break down the Wyatt goal. Power play goal, his 14th of the year, which is the NHL league lead, 20th goal overall, second power play goal of the night. And what I just, before you break down the goal, I just want to say, I really like that we saw Mikko Rantanen do some shooting on this particular power play because he hasn't been, and I mentioned it during our 3 stars yesterday. He only had 5 shots on goal in 4 games last week, and he was tied for 4th in the league in points. He wasn't shooting. He was just conducting. See? However, this time, 87-mile-an-hour one-timer, missed the net a couple of times, but he's creating the possibility of I might shoot it, and that leads to this.
Not only that, but because of the way Detroit plays, there are no other options. They kept on moving it around the perimeter, and all they were doing is killing their minutes on the power play. So what he does is he finds a way to loosen some of that up, and let's go get some a rebound. And that again, guys are going to have to collapse once the puck gets to the net. They do. But this play here, to me, this just shows you all with the 5 guys that are out there, how their hockey sense. Because what happens here, they move it a couple of times, and then it's Miro. He recognizes that who is 18 again?
That's Andrew Kopp.
Andrew Kopp. Yeah.
The Cop. So the Copper ends up getting too far outside of his spot where he's supposed to be. Well, what Miro recognizes, it's because what Wyatt recognizes it too. But again, they moved it around a few times, and then Wyatt just turns and shows him his stick, and it's the shot pass, and it's redirected back again to the right side of Gibson. I think it went through his arm. It either went through his arm or up above his shoulder, one or the other. But again, Miro with his head up all the time. Wyatt shows him where he wants it. And again, Copper is the little right one on the side here. The blur, well, they're all blurry, but regardless, too late.
If you had a couple drinks,
they started breaking things down. You talk about when Miro, that's not frustration. That's let's sail one in there somehow. Let's look for a rebound because they're not moving out of their structure.
That is the get your bell ready, Ryan. A Joe Pavelski special. It's finding a space, showing your stick, and then when it gets in there, making it look easy. So great goal from Wyatt. Stars take a 3-2 lead. I thought that was going to be it. They get another power play, and it looks like they might just finish off the Red Wings, and then Mikko Rantanen gets called for interference. 4-on-4 hockey leads to a power play goal from Dylan Larkin and JVR. We were talking about his presence around the net earlier. This is a beautiful play by Van Riemsdyk.
Yeah, a little between the legs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Between two different sets of legs.
Mm-hmm. And he left the game earlier too. That's one where if you like he left the game, missed about 7 or 8 minutes in the.
Was that when he got hit by a friendly fire?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's you talk about stories too, and I know this is a Stars podcast, but with what Van Riemsdyk has kind of gone through this season, I think it's important. It's like. It's obviously these are stories easy for me to talk about just being located here, but he's someone who missed all of training camp because of a family issue that he dealt with, and he's in Detroit without his wife and kids are back in Minnesota right now, so he's getting on a flight tonight for the Christmas break to go actually see his family. So to see someone kind of from this, to see him kind of still find his niche and the way he does this. This is still elite, though, and it is the reason that Detroit went out of his way to get him. I talked earlier about kind of how what was this power play missing last year in Detroit? It was someone who could do these things, and it's also, it's the play by JVR, but then what Larkin's been doing for this Detroit team. He's someone who only remaining member of this team from the last time Detroit was in the playoffs, 2016, has only played 5 career playoff games, and he is. I talked to, as I said earlier, I talked to Dylan after the game. He's someone who this felt like a huge win for Detroit. And then we're going to talk about overtime in a second. But this was a big Dallas. It was a huge test for this Detroit team. They circled this one on the calendar. This was a game for them to prove themselves. And they're going to use this as a huge momentum thing going forward. And from a Dallas perspective, when you are the test, that's a good thing. Like, let's just be clear on that. So,
Yep.
Hey, Ryan, can you go to that behind the net look real quick again? I think it's the second one you showed where Miro's starting to come down. I think James Van Riemsdyk already has the puck. The one right before that. So, Luds, is this another example for Miro?
Not so much, Sam. This one here, he was kind of playing in the middle. I don't think he saw. Again, you have to trust the guys behind you. And this is where I get into the guys that are out there. So Sam Steele gets a little wide up there up top before, and Wyatt's chasing back to the net too. But Wyatt had to come back here. But if you went all the way back to the beginning of this, I don't know what I had on there. Everything was wide tonight. They when Detroit started to stretch it out, they started to stretch it out. Just opposite of what Detroit did. And now Sam Steele's the guy that has to rush back on this one. It's a great play. I mean, it's a play that I think, I don't know if you want to call it a 50-50 or 60-40 from JVR, that it gets through Miro right there. But in that situation, Miro almost has to go to him because he pulls it out and you don't want him to get a shot on his forehand. If it's the other way around, it's a little different. He could lay back a little bit and then just play for a little bit more time. So this one for me wasn't on Miro. It's on the group of them. I think they just get too spread out.
Yeah, I'm just curious because it looked like the pass down there. He was almost calling for it like he was a basketball player calling for, a post getting out of the pass in the post because he's open. He knows when they get it down there, they have room. I'm just not sure. I'm not good at knowing the balance of how much space you can give them down there because you have to respect the other sides, but good to know.
All right, guys, let's talk about overtime. Happy to get a point.
Overtime.
But not that overtime, lads.
Actual overtime.
But Dylan Larkin scored the tying goal and then the winning goal. And I mean, we talked about it the whole first segment. We're not upset. Great job by the team. Great game. Any thoughts on the goal itself in overtime, whether it's Larkin's shot or the way DeSmith handled that? And I think Razor said on the play-by or the color of it, the analysis, he thought that may have gone right through a leg and very hard for Casey to see.
Well, be working on forward. Watch
Robo. That was number one.
It was Robo. That's right. Yeah,
that was number one.
I mean, he's fishing. He's fishing for a buck. So I don't think it went through Robo. I think it went over his stick, but Robo has his head down and he's just staring at the puck the whole time. And and again, I think that's what forwards do. They're able to take pucks off of sticks, and so wherever it went, it might have went between the skates and the. No, it didn't. I think I saw an angle from behind live, and Robo just he was like one of them, a cat chasing a pen light on the floor. That's what he was.
Sean, we'll see Dylan Larkin and the Detroit Red Wings in Dallas in mid-March. But after watching him play at the Four Nations last year, I'm really excited because I thought he was one of the better forwards, two-way forwards for the U.S. team. And as that tournament went along, Larkin got better where some other guys were disappointing. He got an expanded role because of it, and I think he'll be great at the Olympics.
He is a underrated. He's a good player, and he's the Red Wings' best player, but he is an underrated player because of what's happened with the playoff drought in Detroit. He is someone who, if he had more than just 5 games of playoff experience in his rookie season, I think that wouldn't have been a surprise at Four Nations. And he has been, there's been a lot of years that he has been the only reason this team was even worth watching. And you can see a weight off his shoulders when you see a Lucas Raymond taking the next step. You see Moritz Seider taking that step. You see guys like Emmitt Finnie showing up and doing that. Like for Detroit, and you look at kind of the rebuild and everything for everyone, he's the one you feel the happiest about because there are players who have taken all the lumps and the scars. And at some point, there's going to be playoff hockey in this building. There's never been playoff hockey in this building, which is crazy to think about since they've been in.
Do you think this is the year after 9 straight seasons missing the playoffs?
I mean, you'd like to think so, but it's also in the Atlantic Division. You can lose 3 games and be in last place. Like that's how close the Atlantic is right now. But
when you look at this team, the way they played tonight, let alone the last 5 or 6 games, they look like a team that should at least be in the playoffs. I don't know if they go on a long run, but I think they're good enough if they can stay healthy and keep it all together.
I agree. And as long as their GM actually reads the situation well, unlike he did last year, and understands whether he needs to add or not, I think they will be in a spot where they should be one of the teams in the top 3 in the Atlantic when it comes to the cut day after 82 games.
Sean, who's the captain for that U.S. team, do you think? I mean, is it a Kachuk? Is Larkin a possibility?
Is it Matthews?
I mean, I think this is I would imagine, I think the actual captain in the room will be Matthew and Brady. But I would imagine they're both wearing A's because Team USA understands they don't need the C for that voice. I think it might be Matthews. Now I think Larkin would be a great captain for that team.
That's what it is. I would, yeah. And you're right. I mean, it could be Austin. It could be Matthews too, and
it could be Eichel for that matter.
I don't know. I just thought Larkin would be. Was Larkin be the guy there? Will he be the oldest player? Larkin be the oldest player?
I don't think the oldest.
Is he older than Werenski?
How about
they were roommates in college, so they're around the same age.
They're pretty close, right? Yeah. And then JT Miller's he's about 30 if he's healthy enough to play. It'll be close.
Yeah. That's a good point, Lutz. I would be all for that.
Hellebuck is 32.
Yeah. Is he the oldest, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Quick note I thought was a fun fact, and then we'll get to our super chats. NHL stats. The Dallas Stars, because of Wyatt Johnston's goal tonight, have 2 20-goal scorers, Johnston and, of course, Jason Robertson, at the holiday break for the first time since 1989, 1990, when Brian Bellows and Mike Gartner combined for 20 goals each before the holiday break. And if my math is right, Lutz wasn't even on the North Stars yet. You were still playing, I believe that was Montreal before you got to the Islanders.
90, I think it was. 90 or 91.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was 90.
How about that?
No idea.
2 20-goal scorers before Christmas for the first time in 30 years, 35 years. Not bad. All right, let's get to the Super Chats as we wrap this one up. Stars get we have one right now for sure. So where's that bing bong? There it is. Justin with a Haskin 99 cup here. Merry Christmas, DLLS crew. Go Mammoth and Preds tonight only. Because you're always cheering against certain teams. I'm okay with hate watching against teams once in a while.
Yeah. Healthy.
And then I just want to
hatred is healthy.
I want to give a quick thank you to the Melee Man who gifted 5 DLLS YouTube Supporters Club memberships during the show tonight. It was about a half an hour ago, but still always nice to see the fans of the show stepping up and doing some big things as they try to help out and gift some of their fellow DLLS fans a Supporters Club membership for a month. Very, very nice that way. Sorry for those cheering for the Mammoth tonight because the Avalanche have a 1-0 lead right now, about 5 minutes ago in the second period. So that's not going the way they want. But the Preds and the Wild are going to overtime because why not have a 3-point game?
And let's not forget what Lev said about get to the break here. And if Dallas was 6 points or more up on the Wild, it'd be a little tough on the Wild going to Christmas break and only seeing taillights. I'm just saying right now, I think it's 7 points and the Wild are going to overtime. So,
right.
I don't know what's going to happen here, but that's me when I was 9 years old. When I was 9, that was me.
That's you now.
High resolution photos back in the day.
I'm happy that you sent me this one because it reminds me of my childhood.
All right, guys, any final thoughts? Actually, you know what? I did want to ask Sean. You mentioned the Red Wings, but did you get a chance to hear anything from Stars postgame?
I did. I was in both postgames.
So anything to take away from that? Or were they, as Luds suppose, were they kind of excited to get to the holiday break?
They were excited to get to the holiday break. It was funny because Mikko Rantanen was supposed to speak to the media, and then at the last moment, as we were talking to Jamie Benn, and someone went over and erased 96 off the board and wrote 22, and then Maverick Bork clearly got the short end of the stick of the everyone else was already out of the room and like, oh well. The talking to Glenn after the game, one of the just quick interesting things beyond we talked about Dallas stealing some power play elements from Detroit. It was interesting to kind of, from his perspective, the way to look at it's a 60-minute game. We played well enough in the 60-minute game. We don't like letting up the lead like we did, but the result at the end, it's 3-on-3, and it is what it is. And that's an interesting thing to hear. It's an interesting thing here to coach, admit, and talk about because it's like, yeah, we needed our one-on-one, we need our man-on-man to be a little bit better in that overtime. But at the end of the day, got the point. They are where they are, and there's
a very rare circumstance in a playoff game where you would ever see 3-on-3. You'd have to have a lot of penalties to end up in that situation. So I understand where you're coming from. That's not a thing you have to be good at in the playoffs.
Correct. So
I just want to say.
I just want to say with Luds.
No, you mentioned Maverick.
Yeah.
Maverick is one of the young guys on the team.
Yeah.
Seems to me maybe he might be a guy that would want to stay over in Detroit. Go back tomorrow or the next day. He could just kind of go. He could get on that little bridge there. You could go through the customs thing, and then on the right-hand side, a few miles down the road, he may go have dinner there tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
I'm just
somebody
saying.
look that up. One of the viewers go look up what is right across the border that lets us obviously.
Sam, I don't know what they're talking about, but the chat says that you look like you play the game Helldivers 2. Do you even know what that is? Because I don't know what Helldivers is, but Sean might.
No, I missed the first one, so I can't.
Don't know what Helldivers 2 is. I have no idea.
Sean's a bit of a gamer, so I think that there's a possibility of that.
I assume it's mean, so thank you guys.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts before we say good night and happy holidays to everybody from this one or anything of the first 38 games of the season? We get a 3-day break, and I tell you, I'm really looking forward to it.
Now I stop saying.
My only thought
Luds.
is my only thought after seeing the super chat where people were rooting for the Predators and the Mammoth was I wonder why we don't call the Central Division the Ice Age Division now. Just
Yeah, that's a
between
good point.
Avalanche, I'm just now can't stop. I've been spent the last 8 minutes thinking about the movie Ice Age now for some
That
reason.
is a guy that has young kids
That's
that
not
has
right.
watched those, 5 movies, I think.
Is there 5?
Luds,
I don't
have you
know.
ever heard? Luds, have you ever heard of the animated movies for kids, Ice Age?
I no.
Yeah. Well, Ray Romano is the voice of a mammoth, just so you know. So I'll leave it at that.
All I know is Minnesota just lost in the OT.
Oh, there you go.
So it's
Well,
There you go.
I
7.
think it's time to play us off with Luds. So let's
Ryan is
say
saying good night.
Merry Christmas, Happy
Ryan's gonna
Holidays
wake it off.
for Sean
Wrap up music.
in Detroit, for Luds, for Sam, and for Ryan, our producer. I'm Owen.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Have
Christmas,
a great
everybody.
Christmas. We'll see you Saturday, Stars and Blackhawks. Until then, listen to Luds.
You're a good looking kid.
He only played defense, was never on the attack. We love our Lutz. Great Ludwig, he's the man. Nobody can do an ad read like you can. His fists are like bricks, he's rugged and tough. He does what he wants because he doesn't give a puck.
We all silly like the mayor.